All right, let's do it.
Hey, good to see you again. How are you, Ben?
I'm doing great. How are you,
Cool.
Calvin?
I'm doing good. Where are we? Tell us, a little bit about that.
We are in U City, University City, latest rental property, solid neighborhood,
Okay.
good yields, and I would like to go into the story of how it happened.
Okay. Rental property, you said.
Rental properties,
Cool.
yes.
So describe the property that we're in.
This property is a 2-bedroom, 1 bath,
Mhm.
about 910 square feet.
Okay.
It does have a basement. I like to be in good areas, solid areas, right? You're trying to find the balance between cheap but good enough neighborhood. You don't want to be in a war zone. And this property is 1 mile from the Del Mar Loop, one of the best streets in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So we like the location. University City is pretty desirable as well.
Okay.
So we think that it should, get rented pretty quick.
Oh, awesome. So, what is the numbers? Talk to us about numbers.
So this property was purchased for $115,000. Pretty affordable, right? And we are looking to rent it for $1,200 a month, roughly.
Okay. $1,200 a month. That's not that bad. Does that follow your 1% rule?
Yes, I like to be around that 1% rule. Where in America can you do that? Most of the time it's in the Midwest or the South.
Mhm.
You don't want to be, like I said, in the worst neighborhoods. So very solid numbers, solid house too, in really good condition.
Okay.
But overall, there's always a little bit of issues of getting it up and running.
Yeah, for those of us that don't know exactly what the 1% rule is, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So 1 month's rent equals 1% of the purchase price.
Okay.
So if you had a $100,000 house, rent should be $1,000. If it's $200,000, then $2,000 a month.
Okay. And that's included with all the expenses and income and all that.
That's
Joe
just the
count,
ballpark
right?
figure, those costs are variable as far as, electricity, utilities, taxes. So overall, if you're just at that 1% rule, usually it's a pretty good, solid deal numbers wise.
Oh, okay. It's just a good guideline to follow.
Yeah, just a good guideline to follow.
Gotcha.
You don't have to go by it, and you definitely want to break down the numbers and see what the actual cash flow is.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to tell at first, just looking at it from an overall picture. But let's just say you look at another property and it was 115,000, but rents are only going to be $800 a month.
Yeah,
So that's
then
a
it
little
doesn't
bit
make sense.
lower. Yeah, it has to probably be in a more appreciation neighborhood.
Mhm.
So yeah, as far as cash flow, which is what most people want in St. Louis, that 1% rule, around that 1% rule is a very good standard that I like to live by.
Okay. So you recently acquired this. Is that correct?
It's a client of mine.
It's a client of yours.
Most of my clients are investors,
Okay.
and this is no different. Looking for solid returns. They are from out of state California,
Mhm.
where are you going to buy a $115,000 house in California that you
Exactly.
can cash flow and make profit off of? And
Yeah.
that's what I'm here for, to help people out and build wealth.
Okay. So how did you go about acquiring it?
So yes, this property was on the market, and it was not on the market for long, but I called the agent after looking at it and thought it was in good condition. It was pretty solid, but the agent said that there were 2 other offers on the table.
Ah, okay.
So I call the client and I'm like, yes, let's put our best foot forward, right? We don't want to lowball them. And it was listed for 115,000. I said, let's just make a full cash offer. The numbers work anyway. But let's do it as is, right?
As is.
So as is we're just buying it the way it is. We're not asking you to fix anything, pass inspection. A lot of times that's a stronger offer because less headaches for the sellers, they make more money as well because they don't have to fix up anything. But it is a risk that you are taking buying it as is. So me as an investor and being through this many times, I felt confident that it wouldn't take too much to get it up and running.
Yeah.
When I just viewed the property, walked through the property.
Oh, okay. You mentioned about risk and the seller not having to worry about anything. Is that what an as-is offer entails? Then what is the difference between an as-is offer versus compared to the other offers that the seller received?
So the seller received two other offers from homeowners that wanted to move in. And when you do that, then you will have to pass inspection from University City.
Yeah.
And that can take money and repairs and headaches, right?
Mm.
So yes, we will pay you the same as I would, but you do have to fix this, this, and this, make sure it's past inspection. A homeowner that wants to come in and live in here, of course, they want everything tip top and
Yeah.
the best that they can. It's a lot of money for them. And so they're just like, okay, you have to pass inspection. We probably want you to fix this. And it's homeowners might be a little bit more nitpicky as well. So me coming in and saying, hey, don't fix anything. We'll fix everything after we close. That is a relief a lot of times to the seller.
Looks better as an offer.
Yeah, it's a stronger offer. So if you have a cash offer, that's a lot stronger than getting financing that can fall through. Not that this was a cash offer.
Yeah.
It still was with a loan, but to save them a few $1,000s and a bunch of headaches, that is much more stronger and more profitable for them.
Is there a catch in terms of, on the buyer side, is there a catch in presenting a as-is offer? For example, like there may be some things that the seller is trying to hide, but when you do an as-is offer and they don't disclose that to you, is there a way to back out? So like what would be the risks, besides just uncovering issues that hasn't been found yet?
That's a really good question. And in the offer, there is a inspection clause. So an inspection clause is that period where you have time to do your due diligence, check out the property, and then come back and either negotiate or you can back out of the deal. So 10-day inspection period on this. Okay. So within a couple of days, we get a certified home inspector to come in here. They, look at everything, nitpick everything, do a report of what might cost money to fix. Mm-hmm. So we did that in a certain time, and we saw a few things, and we were like, it's okay. It's not big enough that we would back out. But if a seller was trying to hide something, and it was a huge repair that we didn't want to do, as long as we tell them within that 10-day time frame on this deal, then we say, hey, it's too much, we'll back out. So you're covered there in the contract. Okay. But if you let it lapse, then you're on the hook to buy or lose your earnings money.
Gotcha. Okay. So then when you presented the offer to them, was it an immediate yes, we'll accept it, or how did that reaction go?
So the agent did call me back and said, hey, we're going to accept your offer. Usually they don't tell you a lot of details. So I just say, hey, why did you accept our offer rather than the other offers? And she did tell me just because it was as is. Mm-hmm. The other two offers were people that wanted to move in and live and make this their home. Mm-hmm. And as a rental property investor, we are more likely to take a little bit more risks and roll up our sleeves a little bit more. Yeah. And they just said, that's why we're going with you. You're making it a lot easier. Okay.
So once you got the property, what kind of inspections have you had on here, and what were the issues that you found? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Overall, it's a very solid property. The main drain stack was leaking, and that was the biggest thing. Also, there was the main sewer pipe. We need to take a look at it. We need to run a camera in there and kind of look to see if the drain is cracked or is there any issues to it. And there was just a bunch of rocks in there, a bunch of rocks and gravel.
Oh, that fell through.
Yeah, that fell through. So there was a coupling that was like yay high, and then it was surrounded by rocks. So when you pull it up, the rocks would all fall down. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't really done right. So we had the camera guys, the drain people can't see anything. Yeah. So that was a risk, because we're like, okay, we'll just we'll just go with it,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not going to fix it until after the fact.
Uh,
So that could be pretty scary for a homeowner, right? So,
yeah.
but you know, in your mind, you got to think about the worst case scenario, and the worst case scenario is how much it's going to cost to fix.
Usually the
yeah,
cost is
yeah,
on everybody's mind.
yeah. So for the main drain stack, that's going to be whatever, $1,500. This drain, it could be a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
It could be thousands of dollars as well if you have to dig up everything. Yeah.
Just to break ground, it costs a lot.
Yeah. So that was pretty risky there. But we just thought that like if we clear it out and if it was like clogged, we could just like drain it, snake it out or jet clean it out. And we thought it would be a couple of $1,000s. There's a little leak behind the kitchen sink. And so basically in our mind, we're like, yeah, it could be like 5,000, maybe worst case, it could be $10,000. But we said, yeah, let's go with it. Let's go with it. And we took that risk, and then that's what we were able to get the deal.
Would you say the risk paid off?
Definitely, because this is a desirable house in a good neighborhood. We feel like it's gonna rent for the 1% rule.
Okay.
Long-term wise, it'll appreciate a little bit. It's in University City next to Del Mar Loop, which is pretty desirable. So yeah, overall, as a long-term investment, we do feel like we won.
Okay, cool. So then the issues that had to be fixed, what didn't put you into the negative budget, right?
No, yes.
Okay.
As a rental property, so let's just say it was $115,000 and we put $5,000 into it, and then that's $120 grand. You're still at the 1% rule, and if you're a little bit over, whatever, so be it, right? But as a long-term investor, when you're thinking about 5-10 years down the road, maybe this house most likely it's going to be worth more than today.
For sure.
And you're getting all the fixing done now anyway. I always advocate to buy real estate now. Even if you think the market is high or low, 10 years from now, most likely it's going to be higher, right?
I think prices of houses is always on an increase.
Right. So even if you think it's now is expensive, wait 5-10 years from now.
Exactly.
So but if it's renting out, if it's cash flowing, if you're getting tax benefits, if the tenants are paying your mortgage,
why not?
You're covering that, and then it's going to be worth $150,000 in a couple of years.
Yeah.
So you're building appreciation, you're getting cash flow, you're getting tax deductions. So there's a lot of benefits to holding real estate. Okay.
Then in your career, how many as-is offers have you created?
Quite a few. As an investor, most of them are.
Most of them are.
Yeah. And that's one thing that not a lot of people are used to, because when you buy a home and you're going to move into there, you want everything fixed. You want past inspection, every little thing you want fixed. It has to be almost perfect. And that's that game, and that's true. But for rental properties, you say, hey, you're going to have to do a little work, right? A lot of times there were renters in them. A lot of times they're older, smaller, whatever. So just over the years, I just know, like, okay, I'll buy it as is. Give me a little bit of a discount. I'll put in the work. And then by the time we are done fixing it, we'll have a little bit more equity because we fixed it up and we brought the value up. So at first it's a little scary, but we can help you with that.
How do you balance the attention to detail and the cost of repairs compared to as like an investor versus a homeowner? Because essentially anybody that wants to live in here, they want it to be like their own, right?
Right.
You want everything to be done right, just as a new homeowner would be. But as an investor, how do you balance that between cost and the level of finish?
Right. And that's a good question, because a lot of investors, at first, they want to make their rental property just as nice as their own home. And they will overspend, put the best fixtures ever, and kind of overspend. And then it doesn't make a good investment. You're just overspending. So the whole goal is to make it as nice as possible for within budget.
Yeah.
So if I said, hey, I'm gonna spend 10 grand to make this thing as best as I can, you don't want to go cheap and do the most cheapest. You want to have the nicest things, but you don't want to go everything premium luxury.
Okay.
So it's an art and a science in a way. But over the years, you just kind of get better at knowing like what paint colors, what do tenants perceive as value, but it doesn't always have to break the bank. You know, like if you do a paint job and you paint the trim, the white trim, that gives value instead of just having everything white, right? A few stainless steel appliances, some new appliances, that's gonna increase values. A few light fixtures, new floorings.
Yeah.
So some people will spend whatever $10 a square foot for hardwood flooring. You get some nice luxury vinyl plank flooring for a third of that. Put it in all the way, and those things really elevate the perceived value, and they're durable as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good question, and we don't want you to overspend because it's at a certain point you don't get a return for it.
There's a balance between the durability and longevity of the materials and products that you use in a rental versus your home, right?
Have you heard of tenant proofing?
Tenant proofing? No.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
Tenant proofing is trying to make it as durable as possible. So you want to think ahead of time of what type of things could happen and how to minimize that. So vinyl plank flooring is a perfect example. It's not going to scratch as much. It's not going to get messed up as much. If you put carpet through this whole thing, in a couple of years, it'll probably be beat up. You got to clean it. You got to replace it. So that's tenant proofing it because it's all hardwood flooring, easier to clean.
Yeah.
Paint, if it has a little bit of a gloss, it's maybe easier to clean. Stainless steel might be easier to not mess up.
Yeah.
So I think about those things because over the years, you see certain things and you just, I love having just no carpet because it helps a lot as far as when they move out, it's easier to clean.
Wow. Sounds like you've done this for a number of years, and you've helped many people achieve a level of financial freedom by generating cash flow for your clients, your investors. If someone were to be interested in joining that journey or partner with you, how would they be able to reach out?
The best way is to call or email me or text or email me.
Okay.
So I guess we could put the number on the screen and the email, but reach out to me. I respond fairly quickly. And what I am hoping to offer investors is a one-stop solution to everything where we can help you buy and negotiate everything, which is a process. Help you fix and repair everything to inspection. That's a whole process. Getting the tenant in there, screening, that's a whole process. Then managing the tenants, doing maintenance requests, repairs, and having management in place. So that is 4 things that a lot of people don't know how to handle or they're so busy. So just having us do that for them at an affordable rate, I think there's a lot of value there. And long term, you're getting cash flow, building wealth that way.
So if they're looking for help in acquisition, management, and maintenance, essentially, they can come to you.
Yes,
for that.
That's what I'm here for.
Cool. And what would you say the price ranges that you've helped your investors with? Like what size of portfolio do they have?
So most rental properties in St. Louis are going to be around that 100,000 to 200,000 range.
Okay.
Those are areas that I recommend because usually those are going to be in solid neighborhoods, solid school districts, good returns. When you get a little over that, 300-400, you can do multifamilies. Those are good as well. But if you're like under 75,000, a lot of them are going to be bad neighborhoods with crime, and you'll be worried to go there sometimes. And I have rented properties. You know, I've bought properties that I've done that in D-class neighborhoods, and on paper they look great, and I still have a few, but there's just more problematic, more headaches, more likelihood of vandalism, stuff like that. And so you want to pay a little bit more and not be super cheap.
Okay.
But if you're getting around that 1% rule in a solid C+ neighborhood, that's what I would recommend.
Great. If you're looking to generate more cash flow, have your money work for you, contact this guy. And it was great talking to you again, Ben, and see you next time.
Thanks, Calvin.
Cool. All right.
See you, man.
See ya.